Some of the same mindset challenges I had when I was launching my business in 1997, I hit those same mindset challenges in 2008 when The Secret had come out, when I was on Oprah. Then I hit the same mindset challenges and needed the same mindset shifts in 2018 when my company was 5 times larger. So I see this on my campus so often. People often assume that they need to get another coach to speak more powerfully. Well, in some cases, that might be the case. They need to join another community. That might be the case in some cases, or learn another skill set, a new skill set. Well, actually, sometimes it's a mindset shift. They need to make a needlepoint move in their thinking, working on their mindset. You can stay in the same community. You can have the same coach. You can do the same things, but with a different mindset, it produces a different outcome. Have you stopped to think about the fact that everything we do, everything we physically do, starts first in our mind? The opportunity to examine your mind and steering how you decide the direction that you want to go in or not. That's something that we don't spend enough time thinking about, that we should actually go, hold on, let me think about my mindset.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Lisa Nichols, and my take on her top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, customize your message.
Customize your content for each event. I cannot tell you how many times I see speakers and orators and teachers and whomever, and they have a really great message. But with each new audience they go to, 90% of the message is the same. I gotta be honest with you, some of the people that I know in the industry, some of my friends, they do it, and I love them and I love their heart. But I truly believe that the audience is paying for the lack of energy. Let me just say, lazy. The audience is paying because you're being lazy. Customize your message for your audience. Who are they? How are they different? And even if it's the same demographic, so they're still women and they're still entrepreneurs, but are we in a different time? I dare not deliver the exact same message this year to the same demographic that I delivered in 2019. Why? Too much has happened. She, he, they are in a totally new place. So you want to make sure that your message addresses your audience. Now, let me just tell you something. I saw a very powerful speaker. I will not mention his name. I saw a very powerful speaker be so sure that he can move the audience that when he was speaking to his audience, he actually went in a direction that this audience wasn't interested in. But it's where his speech was. And it was a great speech for another audience. And he was on autopilot. So I want you to think about it this way. You don't talk to everyone in your life the same way. You know, if you were talking to a 3-year-old, you have a 3-year-old's conversation. If you were talking to a 15-year-old, you have a 15-year-old's conversation to relate to them. And if you were talking to a 55-year-old, or let's just look at me because that's where I happen to be right now in my life, you would speak to me differently. And so you don't speak to your partner the way you would speak to your boss, the way you would speak to your children, the way you would speak to your friend. You talk to them in a way that fits the relationship that you're in with them. Your audience is the exact same way. Taking the time to customize your message. You can be talking about the same content, same technique. I teach about speaking all the time, but I'm always saying, am I talking to a corporate employee? Am I talking to a corporate exec? Am I talking to an entrepreneur? Am I speaking to a teenager? Same content, but I apply the message so that it fits the audience. This allows the audience to feel as if you've customized something for them and they have a more intimate connection to you.
Rule number 3, design your powerful close.
Step 3 is about designing your powerful close. So most people end with a fizzle. And I'm going to say one of the major foundations to a powerful message is to end with fire, like fire. So end with fire, not a fizzle. Speakers often overlook and dismiss the close because they're so committed to the content and they think, oh, it's the end. No, like think about it when you're at a concert. When you're at a concert and like you're with like a mega artist, like if it were Prince or Tina Turner or Janet Jackson or Beyonce or Mary J. Blige, or if you're with Kenny G, or you have a concert, a major concert. They don't end with the fizzle. They don't end with the song that no one knew, that didn't go gold or didn't hit a major status, or that you can't sing along with. They crescendo. And they may go down and give you some of the, ones that are more mediocre in the middle. But at the end, they come out and do the encore even. And the encore is always something that gets everyone to sing along. It's an encore that it's fire. That's exactly how your message needs to be. So let me let you in on the secret sauce. Like a lot of things that I love to do now is really taking you behind the black curtain on powerful speeches, behind the black curtain on becoming unforgettable when you open your mouth or when you present in front of people. Your close, here it is. You ready for it? You ready for it? Your close is so important. It's the audience's last impression of you. And most people go height, and down and by. I've witnessed so many times great speeches that kept me engaged and kept me excited until the end. Every time this happens, I'm screaming inside my head, no, please. Don't make your last impression a fizzle.
Rule number 4, connect with your audience.
This is about step 4. This one is huge for connecting with your audience and keeping them interested and engaged. Now, so many times I see speakers or presenters speaking, and they're not checking in with their audience to even see if they're listening anymore. And as a result, people are on their phones or they're doing whatever, they're multitasking. You want to keep your audience absolutely engaged. So let me give you some techniques. You want to identify your audience's drivers. You want to know these things before you even open your mouth. Like you want to know what makes your audience tick, what gets them excited, what gets them into action, what's super important to them, what's the WIIFM, what's in it for me. But in this case, what's in it for them? What drives them? What motivates them? This step is beyond customizing your speech, which is what I mentioned in a previous show. This is really understanding the psychographic of your audience. Whether you're on social media, that's an audience. Whether you're teaching a class, that's an audience. Whether you're talking to one individual, that's an audience. So you have to ask yourself, what's the red button for this particular group of individuals? When I speak to mothers, I recognize that a mother's job is to make her children feel safe. A mother's job is to make them feel loved. A mother also feels overwhelmed. She's also the multitasker of all times. She also needs rest. And she wants to be acknowledged. Many times she's under-acknowledged. I know that. I know that before I start talking to the moms, or even when I'm talking to an audience and I say, if you are a mother, then, and I begin to go into the things that I know is important to a mother. If I'm speaking to a group of speakers or entrepreneurs, then I know it's about several things. It's about impact. You want your voice to be heard. You also want to know that your voice is powerful. You want to know that your message is being received. You also want to monetize your message. So it's not just about speaking. It's also about the business. If I'm speaking to teens during our Motivating the Teen Spirit events, then as a teen, I go, okay, so teens are not making a lot of decisions in their lives for themselves. Decisions are being made around them. They want to own their voice. They want to hear their own voice. They're tired of rules. So in the Motivating the Teen Spirit, when I'm talking to teens, I say, here are no rules. They go, what? In this space, we just make agreements together. man, they perk up as soon as I do that because they're not used to that. So to that point, you want to make sure that you understand what the needs and the desires and what motivates the audience that you're speaking to before you even open your mouth. You don't want to just speak to what's important to you. You want to speak to what's important to them. And what are those hot buttons? What are those red buttons that will make them go, whoop, whoop? Let me listen a little closer. This part of the process may sound like a lot of work, but it's worth it because it can turn a speech, a message into an experience.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5, create a symphony of energy.
Step number 5, you want to take the techniques, the previous 4 techniques that I've given you, and if you're in any one of my courses, it's actually 17 techniques, and you want to make it sound like a symphony. And the reason why this is a step is because most people look at techniques and look at things they do very fragmented. Well, I'm going to say, and I like to call it 2 things. 1, make it sound like a symphony, meaning you want your message to blend together. Think of it as if you were writing a song, because a message should be rhythmic. It should be like a song. It should have this cadence to it. It should have this alliteration to it. It should have this flow to it. It has this opening. It has this middle, this arc, and it has this ending. And it all comes together, right? That's the symphony. That's the sound. That's the band. The other way you can look at it is you want to take your individual ingredients and then you want to layer them together like lasagna. And you want to put them on. Lasagna is actually not one of the easiest dishes to make because it's about individual mastery of the particular taste and the particular seasonings. And then it's also about layering it in such a way that it meshes together and comes out in one form. That's how a great message is. You take the techniques, audience connection. You take the techniques, ending with a fire, not a fizzle. You take the techniques, understanding what's in it for your audience. You take the techniques, verbal highlights, and you do all these techniques. And then you go, how do I layer them? Content and story and opening and close. Yeah. Again, I say, this ain't elementary. This is MBA, right? So it takes a minute. But if you've implemented the first 4 steps, then you have delicious content. You understand what a soul-stirring story looks like because I taught you the valley. You understand the crescendo and a close. Now it's time for you as the conductor, or like my son Jelani, as the head chef, as he is a chef of all times. Now you want to put the dish together, or as the conductor, you want to create a beautiful symphony of words. Yeah, I know when you think of it that way, it's like, well, Lisa, it's just a message. No, it's not. It's life for someone who's listening. It's life for someone who needs your words. So take the time and create a symphony of oration. Create a symphony of possibility. Create a symphony of energy. Because when you speak, and you speak possibility, you speak education, you speak motivation, you're speaking life.
Rule number 6, tell powerful stories.
You need to have content and you need to have stories. Now, the number of stories that you offer in your message has a lot to do with how much time you have, because you always want to give your audience of one or of many, online, virtual, or live, you want to give them enough content to walk away with value. However, it's super important that you give them enough story to walk away with a connection. So what normally happens, some of the best speakers that are out there today, best presenters, they are only doing one or the other. They fall flat in one of those areas. They're either all story and you don't have enough content to write down, or they're all content. That's pretty much the majority of people. They're all content. And there's very few opportunities to make a connection. So why do you deliver content? You deliver content because it's the intellectual learning that you're going to teach your audience, right? Whether it's new concepts, it's the theory that provides your audience with the insight to move forward. Content is the steps, the how-to. Content is where they choose to follow you as an expert, as a coach, as a leader, because you have insight on neuro-linguistic programming, behavioral management, media, marketing. You got that content on personal perseverance and transformation. You are the content provider for that particular body of work, meaning your intellectual property will help move them forward in their life in that area. Super, super important. Now that, I want you to put that by itself. That's important. The mistake most speakers make, most presenters make, is that they give you all of that. Well, I walk away with value, but you miss a huge part of me. Now, where is that? That's from the story. So the story is that experience that you share that grounds the content and makes it real. Now, you don't have to necessarily point to the content. You're just sharing a story about a time in your life, and that story just gives context. It gives 3D. It gives texture, what I like to call it, to what you're talking about, to the content. It brings the content to life in a moment. Let me give you an example. Well, the story is what allows the audience to see themselves in you. The story is what creates the vibration, the energy exchange. Remember, content doesn't create an energy exchange. Content creates an intellectual exchange. You want an energy exchange. Why? Content will have people respect you. Stories will have people become loyal to you.
Rule number 7, ask questions.
You may ask, how do you customize? How do you customize, Lisa, a message for your audience? How do you know what the audience needs? That's what I would be asking me right now. How do I know what the audience needs? Ask questions. Write this down. Your listeners or your customers are the experts. Say that. My customers are the experts. My students are the experts. The next line, I am the service provider. Oh, when I got that years ago, that my customers, my audience, my students, you're the expert. You're the expert of your journey because you know what you need more than I do. You're the expert on what you need. I'm the service provider. So the best thing you could do is ask questions. What matters to you most these days? What problem are you working to solve? What's keeping you up at night? What area would you love to grow in? What's your pain point? What are the 10 things that you're tolerating right now? They're not screaming loud enough to make you change them, but they're screaming loud enough to annoy you. Like, ask those questions. Collect the data. Put it in your back pocket. And as you're creating content and as you're creating programs, create programs and content that speaks to what your audience has already shared with you.
Rule number 8, build your credibility.
I'm going to tell you, there are many other techniques I have to teach you in the science of speaking that would help you. This is one of those cornerstones. So as I was saying, the top of the V, right, is the big U. So it's where you build your credibility. No shrinking here. If you're really, really humble and you're really reserved, this is sort of where it will become challenging for you. Some people, they really can go in their valley easy, right? Most of us. For some, it's difficult. For others, it's difficult to actually share the big U, your credibility. This is where you share your highlights. This is where you share your experiences, your accolades, your achievements, your credentials. And it can't seem like it's a bio, or a resume. So I graduated from, and I know you say it because you're going to take them into the valley. So you want to say, even though you want to kind of give a little clue that you're about to take them somewhere else, even though I have 7 bestsellers, and I've spoken and inspired over 86 million people. And I've been able to travel and be on every single continent that could be populated by man. Even though I've generated over $80 million in business in the self-training and self-development industry in my company over the last 27 years. Even though that's who I am, you see how I just gave you the credentials inside of a even though. Or you can say, what you may or may not know about me, what you may or may not know about me is that I'm a best-selling author times 7 books. What you may or may not know about me is that I have been featured on every major national platform. What you may or may not know about me is I have lost over $1 million and I've earned over 88 million. But what I'm sure you don't know about me is, notice how the big you say it in such a way where it leads into the valley. So it's not a bio. It's not spoken as if it's a bio. It's not spoken as if it is a resume. It's spoken as if it's a conversation that's about to lead into the valley. All of that I just share with you, and I just use my experience, my life as an example to give you. You do yours and don't compare yours to mine, right? Comparison, as Benjamin Franklin says, comparison is and will always be the thief of all your joy.
Rule number 9, leave your audience wanting more.
You want to leave them wanting more. The number one tip for a powerful close is to leave them wanting more. Now, mind you, hold on. I want to make sure you understand you leave them wanting more having already given them something. So please don't be one of those bait and switch speakers. Ugh, that drives me crazy. Like, don't tell me if you come to my thing, I'm going to really tell you how. And the whole speech you're delivering how you're going to help them in that next experience. Don't be a bait and switch speaker. Don't be a bait and switch teacher. Give me value now. And then tell me where I can get more from you. Leave me wanting more from you. All right? And the way you can do this, write this down. Here are some of my favorite. It's called the disappearing close. You have the audience talk. Oh, this one, right? Like, wait, hold on. You got to know. Now this isn't a beginner's move. This is kind of like a gladiator move. You've been in it for a while. You've been doing messages for a while. This is if your audience is either physically together, right? Or you can online, you can open up their lines and have them talk, or you can have them begin to type in chat, right? And I call this first one because we'll get back together live. Life is going to continue. We'll get back together live. We'll never be like we were, but we will be evolved from this time. And when you're live in front of an audience, or it's a small group, it's what I call the disappearing close. And the disappearing close is so bold because it says, I've given you so much value. I've contributed so much. I've left my fingerprint on you that I don't need to be a part of the closing experience. I'm going to do a disappearing close, which means you turn the audience to one another. This is what it looks like. I want you to turn and find at least 3 people in the room, go up to them and say, I'm ready for the next best version of me. Are you? I'm ready for the next best version of me. Are you ready? Find 3 people and say that to them. Another disappearing close is I want you to go find a partner right now. Everyone go find a partner. Raise your hand if you need to have a partner. Everyone, great. Everyone has a partner. I want you to tell that partner what are 3 things that they can expect from you. What are 3 things that they, and let them represent the world. You can expect me to honor my word. You can expect me to live inside my time management. You can expect me to change the planet. Tell that same neighbor, I'm interested in what you're doing. What are you doing? What's the world going to expect from you? So you can create a one-on-one, or you can create a walk around and say, you can do, I just picked those sentences just right now in the moment, but you can have them talk to one person, or you can have them walk around the room. You also can guide the conversation. Turn to your partner, repeat after me. I stand in front of you. And they'll say, I stand in front of you, ready to become the best version of myself. Ready to become the best version. You can have them talk to each other and create a solid connection. Super powerful. That's the disappearing close. The other close is you can close with a poem. It doesn't have to be your poem. You can close with a quote. Oh, It's really powerful when you close with a quote that like is just juicy and delicious, or you can close with a statement that another person says that drops everyone in their heart. I used to always close with, my grandmother says that when you get to the end of your life and you're at the end of your journey and you're in your later years, that you're supposed to sit in your favorite rocking chair and share with everyone who will listen the stories of your life, which is what my grandma does right now. She says, but baby, when you're your age, and I would point to the audience, when you're your age, you're supposed to make sure that that story that you're going to share is going to be real good to tell. Go out and make a great story. I would always end with that. Like, and people would always say, oh man, I love that when you said, I'm going to make my great story. Or I would end with, remember you guys, no one can do you like you can do you. Benjamin Franklin says, comparison is and will always be the thief of all your joy. Don't compare, just compliment. Compliment us with who you are. Go do you. So you can find a quote and you can end with a quote, or you can end with a call to action. And so I challenge each one of you. I challenge you to play big. I challenge you to speak up, stand up, show up, stay prayed up. I challenge you to step up in a way you've never stepped up before. And as you do, I'll be cheering you on. So you can end with a challenge like that. You also can end in a question. If I end in a question, it's like a rhetorical question. It's like a bunch of what ifs. So as I leave you with this. What if? What if you showed up like you've never showed up before? What if you danced as if no one was looking? What if you love as if your heart's never been broken? What if you sing as if you're always on key? What if you shine as if we all can handle your shine? I just got that question for you as I leave. What if? What if you gave us the best version of you? What if? The importance of a powerful close, I cannot tell you enough how it makes all the difference in the world. Like when you're anchoring your message, your close is a critical component. So remember, don't fizzle me. Leave me on fire.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is make an impact.
Why do you want to create a powerful message? Because every time you open your mouth, you want to create impact. Every time. Whether you're talking to your friends, your children, your family members, whether you're talking to an audience of 1 or an audience of 100 or 1,000 or 100,000. Whether you're in a boardroom or whether you're walking on the beach, you want to create impact. Now, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, then this message is super important for you because it has everything to do with you attracting your ideal customer and keeping them. So I won't say that this is the final step because I created an outline for the science of impactful speaking, culminating my 27 years at the time that I shot this video, 27 years in the business and creating a multi-million-dollar platform. And I got to tell you, the first 10, 12 years of me creating this crazy, successful global business and brand, I didn't even know the techniques I was doing. It was my unconscious competence. And over a period of time, I thought, whoa, I keep creating this tsunami of new clients, tsunami of new business partners. What's happening? And I began to look at and study what were the techniques that I did on stage, on camera, in interviews that kept creating this tremendous wave of success. And then I began to shape it so that I can create techniques out of it. So it wouldn't just be my superpower, but it can become your superpower as well. What happens when you feel like you're always being judged? Number 1 is divorce yourself from trying to manage someone's judgment of you. I know that sounds backwards because we want to go over there and change them. I know. Well, when I figure that one out, you'll be the first to know. But in the meantime, how can you separate yourself, divorce, I know it's a strong word, but that's the separation, from the need to monitor other people's judgment of you? Let me tell you what that answer is. You go over to self-awareness. You go over to recognizing I am whole. I am smart enough. I am wise enough. I am kind enough, not from a bragging way, not from a self-righteous way, from the most humble way possible. Can you wake up tomorrow morning and be content with who you are, irregardless of anyone's opinion of you once you leave the house, or maybe the person next to you, or the people downstairs, the people in your same house, can you wake up tomorrow standing and living in the statement and the knowing, I am enough? And then leave everyone's opinion to them. You know, procrastination is really putting off your own desires. Procrastination is putting yourself last. Procrastination shows up when we are so used to putting everyone else in front of us, or we're actually afraid to do that thing that we say we want to do because we're not sure if we can handle the outcome. But the whole attachment to procrastination and self-love, what you can do tomorrow, why not do today? What you can do today, why not do right now? You know, one of my team members talked about reading a book called Touch It Once, which means if you can touch it once and get it done, how much more productive will you be? Unconsciously, we have a tendency to do things to influence someone's perception of us. And really what we're trying to do is change or control. That word again. We're trying to control their perception of us because we feel like they're being judging. So we get into the proving business. I said in another Lisa Nichols episode that you have nothing to prove, nothing to protect, nothing to hide, and nothing to defend. That's not just a mouthful of words. That is literally a lifetime of disconnecting from the need to prove to someone you're smart enough, you're kind enough, you're loving enough, you're worthy enough, you're enough, ... Right? And I remember for years, because I didn't graduate from college, I was always trying to prove I was smart enough. Always. And then I had a son without being married. So then I wanted to prove that I was godly enough. I was always trying to prove something until it just became so exhausting. What I was doing was trying to control people's judgment of me. I'll try says I'll make a feeble attempt. I will is absolute, non-negotiable, no matter what. There's a certain energy that goes forth when you say I'll try, and there's a different energy that goes forth when you say I will. When you make the declaration of I will, that says mountain, if you are there, you must move. I'll try says I hope I got enough energy to make it up or around the mountain, and if not, I'm gonna sit at the bottom of the hill. When you fail to make a plan, okay, well, hold on. This might hit you between the eyes. You know I love you. But when you fail to make a clear, concrete plan that has goals and milestones, meaning they're smaller goals that you can hit to get to the bigger goal, and has a by-when date, not in February, not in August, but August 15th by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, when I set a goal, I even want to know the time zone I'm gonna have it done by. Clarity. When you fail to make a plan with clear distinction, when you fail to make a clear plan, you have clearly planned to fail. I'll say it again. When you fail to make a clear plan, then you've clearly planned to fail. I know that hits you hard. I've done it many a times. I have clearly planned to fail many a times because I had an idea and it was just in my unconscious. I didn't know. Now I want to bring to you what I know to you so you know it. I want you to make a clear plan. When you create a clear plan, then you're clearly planning to succeed. Acknowledge your community. See, when you celebrate the people around you that bring you joy or that teach you some of the hardest lessons that you need to learn, the iron that sharpens the iron, the celebrators that celebrate you, those who hold the space for you and with you, pray for you, honor you. When you celebrate and lift them up, the whole tide rises. So I want you to find 6 people in your community, not out of obligation, but truly out of choice. They can be in your circle, in your family, in your business circle. And I want you to acknowledge them for the contribution that they bring to your life. What I love about acknowledgement is that when you acknowledge other people, it actually makes you happier. It's just this amazing gift of giving. And what I love is that most people would rather get an acknowledgement from you than a physical gift. That means they don't necessarily need the perfume, they don't need the sweater, they don't need the new iPhone, whatever. They want you to look at them in their eyes and say, you bring value to my life. I honor you. I celebrate you. I appreciate you. Take time to have a personal moment with them where you're just seeing them. The number one reason why people feel sad and disconnected is because they say they don't feel seen. So in this acknowledgement, I want you to look into their eyes and acknowledge them for who they are and how they make your life better. When you raise the community around you, the entire tide rises, the energy rises, the joy rises, the expectation rises. And guess what? If you make this a part of your weekly habits with them, I didn't say daily, I didn't say monthly either, and I definitely didn't say annually. But if you make this a part of your weekly, find one thing to acknowledge at least 6 people in your community for each week. One, you'll feel much more excited. But all of a sudden there's a vibration that happens because you've created it. There's this energy of let's go do this, because what gets celebrated gets repeated. You want someone to repeatedly do something wonderful and amazing in your life, you repeatedly acknowledge them from a genuine place. Man, it's so powerful when you truly marry yourself to the acknowledgement process, to the practice of acknowledgement. When you get into the practice of acknowledgement, all of a sudden people will mirror back to you. You don't acknowledge to get it back. You acknowledge because you want people to be seen. But there's just this dance that begins to occur that's absolutely delicious. Your belief systems were handed to you by your parents and by your grandparents, and they were pretty much embedded by the time you were 10 years old. So there's some beliefs that you didn't even have a chance to develop for your own. You just are living them out.
You inherited them.
You inherit the belief system and didn't unconsciously inherited them. And so the good news is you get to choose to the belief systems you like, and then you get to divorce. I'm going to say divorce because that's a strong word. We all know what separation looks like when you say divorce. You get to divorce from a belief system that doesn't serve you any longer. A belief system that says money is the root of all evil, maybe, or a belief system that says only rich people have money, or all rich people are crooks, or my belief system used to be that wealthy people aren't spiritual. That if I'm wealthy, I can't be a spiritual person.
You have to pick God or money.
One or the other. I got to pick my faith or my finances. I can't have both. That's a belief system. And I invite you to divorce it because it's not the case. I have both, and I live in both quite well. I use my money for good in the world. And the more money you have, the more good you'll do if you're a good person. So money makes you more of who you are. So you will only be more of who you are with money. Every relationship is a relay. It's like my dad's played tennis for over 40 years, and I've attempted to play with him at times. And what I realize is that relationships are like a tennis match. I hit the ball to you, you hit the ball back. And a relationship where you think it's only about one person, that's not tennis, that's racquetball. Right? But a relationship is a tennis match. And so if a relationship is working, it's because of the way we both are engaging. If it's truly working. And if it's not working, it's the way we both are engaging. And so there could be passive engagement and there could be active engagement. So when you're not speaking up for what you want, when you're holding and you're living with a bunch of withholds, that's engagement. That's just the way you're engaging. So every relationship has 2 parts, whether your part is active or your part is passive. Every relationship has engagement, a level of engagement, and that engagement is on different levels. Oh my God, I love this question. I don't think I've ever been asked this question before. I never had an opportunity to explain it. Being the best version of you. First of all, don't think of it holistic. I want you to break it down to different parts of your life, because when you are committed to being the best version of you, which in summary, it's the you that you're so incredibly proud of holistically. It's a 360 approach. It says, I'm not perfect. So best does not mean the perfect version of you. Because I think perfection and balance are 2 illusions that are designed to help you keep chasing something that's not even attainable. So perfect is not attainable and balance is not attainable. So it's perfectly managing my imperfection and releasing balance and having harmony, number 1. But the best version of you is really saying that in each area of my life, I'm in movement. In each area of my life, I'm in evolution. In each area of my life, I'm active. active. I am actively participating in an upwardly mobile way in this area of my life, times every area of my life. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're always where you want to be, but it does mean that you're being responsible, you're being active, and you're being proactive. Finances, that you're looking at your numbers. Just this morning, I ran my credit score again. I want to see what's on it. I want to be actively participating in my financial growth. I looked at my savings. I looked at my life insurance. I just looked at my long-term plan. Not necessarily because I want to buy another house or I want to buy a car. I just want to be on top of it. I want to be responsible for it. And then health and wellness. Just yesterday, I was talking to Matt and going, Matt, it's time for us to do another health and wellness campaign. I don't necessarily want to do it. And it slightly to moderately scares me a bit when I'm bringing my fitness into a public conversation. But I know the responsible me, the best version of Lisa, is saying, hold me accountable. Hold me accountable to my fitness goals. Hold me accountable to my total wellness goals. And then last week, I was just sitting with someone saying, you know what? I need to go down the list of all the checkups that I've had. I need to make sure I'm not missing anything. Relationships. I just said to a girlfriend yesterday, hold me accountable. Hold me accountable to not running. I realize that I run well and I run smoothly. I run like a gazelle sometimes when it comes to relationships. It doesn't even look like I'm running because I'm so busy. So I asked someone who knows me, who knows the love that I want, who knows my sexy excuses. I need you to hold me accountable. When I say this, I want you to question it. And so while there's so much growth in every area of my life, I'm being the best version that I know to be because I'm active in every single area. I'm not saying I'm being the best or I am the best. Please don't get me wrong with that. I'm just saying to be the best version of myself. So when you look at being the best version of yourself, look at each part of your life and go, what am I actively doing? Where you feel like I'm in the game in this area. I'm not resigned and I'm not praying for it to go right. Or I'm not in resignation and in complaint about it. I'm not a victim to that relationship. I'm not a victim to my finances. I'm not a victim to the relationships in my family. I'm an active part of creating what's occurring. And it can always get better, but I'm an active part. That's being the best version of you. And waking up each morning and saying, I like me today. I got many things I can work on, but I like me today. Before you ever go out on Facebook or any other social media platform to check to see if anyone else like you, your job is to like you first. And every other like is bonus. That's stepping into the best version of you. Setting long-term goals that make your knees knock a little bit and make your teeth chatter a little bit. Those goals that you don't know exactly how you're going to get it done, but it's something that you want to get done. It stretches you, but it doesn't stress you. Your goals are supposed to stretch you, not stress you. Those things, that combination. And when you live in that capacity and you focus and you operate in that one, that's when you're living and being the best version of you.
Did you consciously sit down and say, I want to manifest inspiring millions of people, making millions of dollars? Was it a conscious thing? Were there moments where you sat there when you weren't living in that reality, where you said, you know what, I'm going to decide, I'm going to figure it out. I might not know how, I might not know where or what, but I'm going to commit to it and make it a reality. I mean, talk to me at the core of your experience.
Right. So I love how you say make millions of dollars. I said I want to inspire people and I want to be able to pay my bills. That was initially.
That was a big dream.
I want to run out a month before I run out of money. Big. I want to have enough. That like you can't think about having abundance until you literally give yourself permission to have enough.
Yeah, get past scarcity to begin with.
So I want to have enough to dream. And so my first, I think I have a ministry mindset. I just want to help people. I want to help people and I want to be rewarded for my efforts, right? And then once I got past that, I said, okay, I want more. I want to generate millions. I want to serve millions, inspire millions, and generate millions. I think I deserve all of that. But that had to do with my self-worth.
Right.
I had to feel worthy to touch millions. And I had to feel worthy to touch millions. I had to feel worthy of both. And so that was personal development, which is why I live and I stay in personal development. I teach personal development. I teach wealth development. I teach business development, and I teach personal development.
I love
because
that.
you have to have both.
Setting quarterly goals to recognize that goals that are going to be hit are goals that are bite-sized, digestible, and palatable, and you can measure them every 90 days. We together discovered that 90-day goals allows us to get to annual goals and 2-year goals and 5-year goals, but 90-day goals allows you to have bite-sized, palatable, digestible goals that could be measured and or adjusted every 90 days. I'm only telling you the lesson that I had to learn, that we train people how to treat us. In 2007, when I was on the Oprah show, it was the thing that came up and out of me. And she was like, yes, it was that thing that said, we train people how to treat us. Like they're looking at what we're saying yes to and what we're co-signing on. And if we're the yes woman or the yes man all the time, then one, our yes isn't as valuable because everyone automatically expects it because we give it away all the time. And two, they're gonna keep asking because they know they're gonna get yes. And if you're a producer and deliverer, you're the one I'm gonna come to all the time because you're a producer and deliverer. You're gonna get the job done, even to the detriment of your own joy, even to the detriment of your own happiness. But again, you train people how to treat you. But the good news about training someone is that they can be retrained. If you find that the relationships around you have toxic outcomes, then I want you to look at where's the breakdown. Is the breakdown in communication? Is the breakdown in how you communicate, the words you're using? Is the breakdown in who you choose to be around? Is the breakdown in the engagement of what you're talking about? What I've learned is that if you're not talking about things that are high enough and big enough, things that are inspiring enough, you will slip into the smallness every single time. If you don't choose an intentionally high, evolving, encouraging conversation, you will slip into the cracks. You will slip into those crevices of smallness and petty. And until you get people trained that you're going to live up here without telling them, I need you to know, it's not an announcement. It's a way of being. It's a what do you choose to participate in? It's a stepping over your desire to hear smallness, gossip, negative feedback. It's when someone is engaging in negative feedback about someone else, the fact that you didn't add anything to the conversation doesn't let you off the hook. Did you stop the conversation? Did you say, hold on, I don't want to engage in speaking negatively of them at all. Why don't you have a conversation with them? It's course correcting behaviors in your space at the risk of losing the relationship. But what you basically do is you say, here's where I play. Here is where I live. I'm not visiting this high road of integrity. I'm not visiting this high road of conscious thinking and awareness and respect and humility and honoring the dignity in people. I don't visit this place. I live here. I don't visit this place. I live here. And in a loving way, anyone that's engaging with you has two choices. They either engage with you here or they choose to engage with someone else. Now, if you find that you're going down to be in the relationship, or you're going down and you're the person taking the relationship down because you're in a moment of anger, or you're in a moment of resentment, or you're in a moment of hurt, then you're not living in your highest integrity. You just visit every now and again when you come to this channel. Uh-oh, I see my Shantae coming out right now. Shantae is my middle name. It's what I do when I start getting real edgy because I really want you to get it. So you need to make a decision on where you choose to reside. And then you don't leave your conscious neighborhood to go visit other people's neighborhood if it's not as high as yours. People will rise to the occasion, or they'll choose not to rise, and they'll pick other people to be with and hang with. And I know that sounds easier said than done because some of the people who are playing at a lower level might be in family. It might be, and that's fine too. You can love people. It doesn't mean you have to spend tons and tons and tons of time if that time costs you something. Spend as much time as you can. Spend as much time as serves you. Spend as much time as they will allow you to spend. But never leave this place. Even if being with them causes you to allow them to be where they are, you don't have to engage in that. So the bottom line, and supporting you to either recognize, are you the toxic element? Or are you surrounding yourself in toxic element? Is to make a commitment where you live. Where am I living? And first own where you're currently living. Because if you own it, you might go, you know what? I do slip into that small place. Okay, own it. That's conscious awareness. That's powerful. Own it. And then go, where do I want to be? And then what's the distance between here and there? And what do I have to do to get there? What do I have to say no to? What do I have to participate in? What do I have to ask forgiveness for? What do I have to clean up? What relationships require cleaning up? And then what declarations must I make? And what decisions must I live in? Don't make a decision, live in your decision. Practice active, yes, I'm gonna say it again, underline, circle active, practice active self-care. That's where you identified what rejuvenates you and made plans to make time for self-care during the busy season. So you made a list of what you know rejuvenates your soul, your mind, your body, your spirit, from walking on the beach to reading a book to taking downtime, free things and retreats or a spa, whatever it is that rejuvenates your soul, to make a list of it. And then to make plans, active self-care, to do those things during your busy season. To the conversation about money and wealth, it's one, being willing to release a familiar now for an unfamiliar future. Now that's easier said than done,
yes.
And it's bigger than it sounds. Are you willing to have your future look unfamiliar, and in some cases, look around and you don't recognize anything? Are you willing? Are you so tied to the comfort of what you know, even in its discomfort? So I was willing to reinvent myself 1,000 times. Are you willing to reinvent yourself? Are you willing to introduce yourself to the new version of you?
Yes.
Are you willing to go places you wouldn't go and do things that you traditionally wouldn't do? See, I wasn't traditionally in meditation or in visualization or hanging around older white men, or like I had 1,000 things that I didn't do traditionally. When we talk about living our quest, I think that living my quest, really, if I look at it on a daily basis, it's finding my own voice. It's finding your voice. It's finding the song that only you can sing, off key or not. It's finding your rhythm. It's discovering what it feels like to walk in your shoes today. It won't look like it looked 10 years ago. Living your quest is, what can I do with my life so that my life becomes infectious to someone else? Living my quest looks like, how do I make my fingerprint matter so big that it lives beyond my transition day? Living your quest is, how can I forgive the perceivingly unforgivable so I can love the absolute lovable? Living your quest is, how do I give myself 1,000 second chances, and every time I get to 999, press reset? Yeah. Living my quest is not some ambiguous, untouchable experience. Living my quest means going back and healing the little girl in me so that the woman can be free. It's going back and embracing the little boy in you so that the man can show up and give himself permission to cry when necessary. Living your quest is not something that you can't touch. It's not something that requires a stage or lights or cameras. Living your quest is being complete and content with who you are in the dark of the night, so who you are in the middle of the day is all right. Living your quest is as simple as it is complex. Living your quest is about giving yourself permission, say permission, on a daily basis to become the next best version of yourself. Living your quest is not holding yourself hostage to old decisions, not holding yourself hostage to shame, blame, guilt, regret, and anger. Living your quest is about recognizing that every day I can be reborn to my possibility. See, it's very difficult to speak phenomenally and to not be good. Come on, y'all from yesterday. Not be great, but to be what? Unfreaking forgettable.
It's difficult to be unforgettable while you're still trying to look good. You can't do two things. That's chasing two rabbits. See, unforgettable has everything to do with serving at a level so high, so big, so massive that people feel like they have to change their lives because they crossed your path. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. See, when you're willing to use your voice, first you have to recognize that you have one. You got to recognize that no matter your past, you were given a voice, and your voice was given not to keep to yourself. Your voice is not a secret, says the secret teacher. And you have to be willing to use every experience that's ever happened in your life, not as a fortress holding you from using your voice, but as the fuel on why you will use your voice. You got to be willing to not stand in your story, but stand on your story. Yes, yes. It's not in spite of your past that you get to be amazing, that you get to be a change agent, that you get to transform lives. It's because of your past that you're perfect for such a job. When you own it like that, see, there's no question in my certainty about my life. Can you walk with that level of certainty so that when the wind comes and then when the wind blows, and it will come and it will blow and it will be a storm and it will be a tornado and it will look like divorce and it will look like bankruptcy and it will look like an illness and it will look like a loss. When it comes, it will rock you. It will rock you. It will rock you, but it won't move you.
The Oprah team had heard some of my backstory. And they said, can we send a camera crew, much like this wonderful camera crew?
Yes.
Not nearly as good looking. And can we send a camera crew to capture your story? And so I shared my story. And I mean, I dumped. And I shared the ugly. And right after the interview, I regretted it. Because I didn't think I could be the secret teacher, the expert, and have that kind of ugly out there in the world. I didn't know. I didn't know that the world would love me for what I've come through. I thought that they would consider me an imposter in the secret. And so I shared all this junk. 2 weeks later, I'm on my way to Oprah to do the actual recording, and I know I know the video. So the night before, I'm packing and I'm crying. I'm like, oh, it's over tomorrow. It's all over.
I'm gonna go embarrass myself on Oprah.
It's the fastest career up and down anyone's ever seen. Lisa Nichols will be the secret.
Yes.
Right. So, I'm just sad. I'm scared, and I call a friend of mine at 4:15 in the morning because I stayed up all night.
Of course, yeah. How are you gonna sleep before that?
Yeah, right. And I said, I know they're gonna know my junk and the video, and it's over. And he said, look, can I pray for you, Lisa? And I was like, sure. My friend says, God, thank you for using your imperfect child to help your imperfect children. I went to Oprah the next day, and as the chatter kept going in my head, leading up to the moment when they play this video, I'm like, it's okay. I'm enough. I'm enough with all my mess. I'm enough. And the chatter kept, nope, they're going to find out. They're going to find out your son's father is in jail. They're going to find out. And I thought, no, they're not going to find out because I'm going to tell them. Because there's power in transparency. There's power in authenticity. There's power in truth. That I'm going to speak life into someone else because they're going to see who I am because of that, in spite of that, with that. And so then the after show came. So after the regular Oprah show, the after show. And man, I cracked open on the after show. And within 72 hours, talk about the power of transparency and authenticity. Within 72 hours, I received 8,782 emails. And my email wasn't even Lisa Nichols. It wasn't even easy to find. And my website wasn't Lisa Nichols.
Yeah.
People searching for me.
Whatever it took.
Because of the truth. And so I had the imposter syndrome then. I've had it since then. People told me, oh my God, you're the answer. And I'm searching for my own answers.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome.
For 10 more amazing rules from Iyanla Vanzant, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Self-value means how you hold yourself within yourself and what you expect as a result. If you really, really love someone,